So when you're progressing volume, let's say every single week, so you're adding sets, but you're also progressing the RPE or training closer to failure at the same time, you're kind of burning the candle at both ends. That's kind of, an analogy I like to use, because just simply adding in sets week after week, where let's say you keep the intensity the same. So let's say your average set is 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. Week 1, you're doing 10 sets. Let's just say week 2, you're doing 11, 12, you're progressing like that. You're already inducing a ton of fatigue. Every single week, you're creating a bigger recovery demand. Now, if we were to also, on top of that, increase the intensity of each set, you're probably going to hit your max recovery abilities very, very fast that way. And, in most cases, you can actually make a case, in powerlifting and strength sport, it's kind of, they take the opposite approach. As you get closer to a contest or a meet, the intensity is going up, but the volume is going down. So in bodybuilding, it's a little bit different, because obviously your goal is to build muscle. You're not worried about performance as much. But when we're talking about, a longevity approach, and we're talking about training consistently over time, that model of training is going to require that you're going to train to the point where you absolutely need a deload. You're going to have to scale back. You're going to have to keep repeating this process. And what I found over time is using an approach like that, when you're ramping up that fast, week 1, you feel great. Week 2, you say, wow, I'm still adapting. I feel pretty good. Maybe week 3, week 4, all of a sudden out of nowhere, you're going to hit a wall. And again, on paper, this might sound great. And when you map it out and look at it, it makes perfect sense. But when you do it in the real world, it doesn't always play out that way, because people are just not aware of recovery from week to week of their training. They forget what they did 2 weeks ago, So now if we're looking at, okay, we're on week 3, week 4 of the plan, and now all of a sudden we're doing double the volume, triple the volume already, you're going to hit a wall really quick. And, my personal experience, I've experimented with that myself. And that's usually what I've experienced. If every single week I'm trying to add progressive overload, whether it's through intensity or whether it's through volume, week 1, I'll feel great. Week 2, I might even hit a PR thinking like, wow, this is working, and then mentally I say, okay, this is perfect. Keep training that way, keep increasing intensity, keep increasing the volume. Then like week 3, week 4, out of nowhere, you just walk in the gym and you're like, wow, I'm weak today. I don't have the strength, whatever reason, I'm carrying a ton of fatigue. Then if you go back and look at your training, you say, wow, I ramped up the volume way too fast. I ramped up the intensity way too fast. And I think that's something that maybe beginners can get away with, because your body's adapting so quickly. But when you're kind of like in the intermediate stages, especially when you're in advanced stages, it's not something you could really do consistently over time, because you're going to keep fighting that stage of hitting, your fatigue threshold and having to back off and recover. So I don't think that's a productive way to train long-term. I think that there's definitely time and place for it. If you say, listen, I'm going to train very aggressively for these couple of months, and this block of training is going to be very aggressive, then I'm going to follow it up with a deload. But if we're talking about making consistent progress over time, I don't think you should be training in a way where week 3, week 4, you have to take a deload, take a week off, take a week to deload. We'll take somebody where they need roughly 10 sets a week of quad work to grow their quads. And let's say the average intensity of the set is like 1 or 2 reps shy of failure. Let's just assume that that's what their body requires to grow right now. They're growing off it. There's many different ways to do that. You could do all 10 sets in one workout. You can do 5 sets on Monday, 5 sets on Thursday, right?